Hello, I'm Ina Shrevinsky, and this is Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. Remember the whole Zelensky is a dictator nonsense. Now that Russia wants to force Zelensky out, force Ukraine into presidential elections, and possibly plant their own loyalist at the helm, this narrative is becoming more and more prevalent. Exhibit 1. This appeal from one Diana Panchenko.
Today I ask for your attention. Zelensky took Ukraine hostage. We want freedom. He imprisoned or killed anyone who dared to speak out. We need your help. Thousands of cases have been opened under the charge of treason. The offense carries a life sentence. In fact, it's even worse. I'm sharing a list of people who suffered for the truth. People who emailed me and whose cases we managed to confirm. Those are journalists, priests, politicians. All of them are in prison now on fabricated charges. They are being tortured and beaten. It's just a fraction about whom we managed to find out. I believe in power of free speech. Please share this list. I'll attach it to the video. Save people from dictator Zelensky.
There you go. An independent Ukrainian journalist has spoken. Zelensky is the tyrant who jails his enemies with an evil chuckle. Except all this stuff is as reliable as a heat shield made of chocolate. First up, we've got the accusations. Murdering political opponents? No evidence whatsoever. Jailing the opposition? Not really, unless they happen to break the law, including laws related to treason. That would also cover clergymen loyal to the Orthodox Church of the Moscow Patriarchate, whom she charmingly refers to as priests. Religious persecution, then? Not quite, as the Russian Church is heavily involved in backing the invasion, from ardent pro-war sermons to blessing nukes with holy water. And then there is Diana herself. Let's check her resume. Presenter at News 1 sounds so cosmopolitan. Oh, it doesn't exist anymore. Interesting. Who owned it? Well, it's Taras Kozak, pro-Russian Ukrainian former policymaker, best pal of pro-Russian oligarch Viktor Medvedchuk. The plot thickens. Actually, this TV channel was shut down because it kept pushing Russian propaganda even as Ukraine was already under attack in the Donbass. Bad vibes, in other words. Anyway, back to Diana. Let's check the references section in her CV. Jean Cavalier, Reporters Without Borders. There you go. Diana Panchenko is a professional propagandist who imitates journalistic news videos to spread Kremlin-backed disinformation to Russian-speaking and now English-speaking audiences. By twisting facts to conform to the official Russian narrative, she pollutes the information space with falsehoods about Ukraine. And there you have it. Sweet. Still believe her when she calls Zelensky a dictator? One Ukrainian outlet has described her as a Goebbels in a skirt and a televised honey trap. But don't ever think it's just the good looks that allowed her to lure such prestigious guests to her YouTube channel as the neo-fascist thinker Alexander Dugin or Belarusian dictator Alexander Lukashenko. For stuff like that, you need a discreet nod from the Kremlin. And since the Kremlin wants Zelensky out of the picture, it will always support those who show him in a bad light. While the world discusses new threats, peace negotiations and ways to defend against Russian aggression, poor Lukashenko finds himself sidelined like a neglected houseplant in the Kremlin's geopolitical greenhouse. Desperate for attention, the self-proclaimed father of Belarus has emerged from his comfort zone to spew his usual nonsense, anything to remind people that he still exists. His latest act of attention-seeking came in an interview with Olga Skabeyeva, Russia's top propaganda cheerleader. With all the confidence of a man whose main political achievement is not getting poisoned by his own allies, Lukashenko boldly declared that the US has no plan for Ukraine whatsoever. He also insisted that Russia can't be pressured, clearly forgetting that a Ukrainian drone recently persuaded a Russian refinery to take an unscheduled break.
Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте, я очень рада вас видеть.
Все воюешь, воюешь. Ты сказать, что у американцев нет никакого плана по конфликту в Украине. Абсолютно нет. Они что делают? Ну, может, так общие черты, остановить войну, там прочее. Что они делают сейчас? Они зондируют почву. Мы об этом сегодня поговорим. Владимир Ильич мне расскажет о том, что говорили в Саудовской Аравии и прочее. Они зондируют почву. А что эти хотят? Что эти? На этих нажмем, можно нажать. На этих не нажмешь. Что, ну, на Россию нажмем. Мы давно обсуждали эту проблему. Что, Дональд придет и кулаком стукнет, все? Или санкции уведут. Так уже ввели против нас столько санкций, что уже...
The Belarusian dictator then offered his unique strategic insights. Ukraine should be banned from rearming during a ceasefire. Nobody should fall for Trump's tricks because he changes his mind too often. Ironic, by the way, coming from a man who once promised fair elections. And Russia will soon liberate the Kursk region. And of course, no Lukashenko performance would be complete without some ranting about Western sanctions being ineffective. This, of course, was said while he patiently waited in line for an audience with comrade Tsar Putin, perhaps to ask for more cheap gas, or just for permission to keep pretending he runs a sovereign country.
Урсула, она, наверное, ни разу не видела не то, что современное средство поражения, ракеты и прочее, она пистолета нормального не видела, а уже мыслит глобально в плане вооружений и создания европейской армии. Ну и Дональд же, вы видите, какую позицию занял. Так и хочется сказать, кто им даст это сделать?
Yeah, you had the man. In his final touch of comic relief, Lukashenko mocked Ursula von der Leyen for never having held a gun in her life while talking about Europe's nuclear umbrella. This coming from the same man who once trotted around Minsk with a Kalashnikov, bravely protecting the nation from unarmed protesters who dared to question his fraudulent elections. But sure, he's the military expert we should all be listening to. And to wrap up today's program, here is a little dose of Solovyov's signature hate speech, because what's a weekend without some quality Kremlin entertainment? This time around, Russia's favorite TV madman decided to rattle his old rusty nuclear saber at Europe once again. With the kind of smug confidence only a man with a private villa in Italy, confiscated of course, can muster, Solovyov barked that Europe's nuclear capabilities are laughable compared to Russia's almighty arsenal. Stop making our Iskanders laugh, he roared, as if anyone outside his propaganda bubble still takes these threats seriously.
Франция и Британия призывают НАТО к прямым ударам по российским объектам, если мы вдруг нарушим некое мирное соглашение? Слушайте, ну вы можете хотя бы найти пару людей, у которых есть военное образование, чтобы они вам хотя бы совет дали? Есть во Франции и в Британии люди, которые все-таки заканчивали профильные учебные учреждения. Франция и Британия, наносящие удары по нашим объектам, существуют ровно столько, сколько будет лететь ракета в нашем направлении. Идиоты! Вся ваша суммарная ядерная мощь – ничто по сравнению с тем, что есть у нас. Тем более, что Америка не собирается за вас списываться.
Naturally, he forgot to mention a few key details, like the fact that Russia's nuclear weapons are about as modern as the Soviet cassette tapes they still play in government offices, I guess. Who knows what condition those warheads are in after decades of gathering dust in underground bunkers? Half of them probably won't even launch, and the other half might explode somewhere over Belgorod. But hey, let the man dream. Threatening the world with nukes is all that's left when your army struggles to hold onto border towns and your navy is best known for its spectacular sinking performances. So go ahead, Solovyov. Keep shouting into the void. The world has better things to do than listen to you. And with this, we conclude this episode of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.